What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Grow Family Network, and today we're going into the gardening classroom. What I did was I picked up some planting guides at my local nursery and had somebody to put them in the, I can't believe I can't remember what it is right now, but you know, laminate them. So that's what you see right here. This page is gonna be a front and back, and this one is just so 3 pages. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go inside and we're gonna scan these into the computer, and I'm gonna actually basically kind of just go through all of this with everybody. So if you're a beginner gardener and you want some help on starting seeds, when to start seeds, when to plant something, can you plant something in the fall, can you plant something in the spring, this video is going to be for you. Also, if you're wondering where to find this kind of information, this video is going to be for you. I'm going to show you how to Google and find all of this stuff that you're going to need. Free resources are everywhere for young gardeners, beginner gardeners. Also, if you're like an intermediate gardener and you want to get into growing some of this other stuff that you probably haven't grown, right? This is not just tomatoes and cucumbers. You want to get into some of the other stuff. You want to know when to plant it so you can have a better season, a better year starting this fall. Some of our fall planting dates are starting up right now in July, so really want to get this video into you guys so you can see some stuff that you can do to better your home, better your garden. Supreme Family Garden says that better homes, better gardens. So I want to get into the house. Let's go inside and we'll check out and try to learn a few things. All right, so here we are. I got the computer up, and what I wanted to do is I actually went in. I'm gonna go down to my downloads. I've actually went in and I've gotten the same document and I've just scanned it to my computer, so you'll see it right here. And let's just go ahead on and pull it up and we'll just get right into it. All right, so this is a 3-page document that it's free at our local nursery. I think if you have any kind of nursery that's worth anything, they should have at least a 1-page planting guide to get you started that's free. You can also go online. I won't do it today, but right here you can go to Google or Safari or Firefox, whatever you have, and just go to Google and type in, what I did was I typed in what to plant in Louisiana in spring or what to plant in Louisiana in fall. And basically here it's LSU Ag Center. Has all of most of our agricultural stuff is done through LSU because it's a state college. They will have some sort of resource, or you can just call the ag department at a local college and they can tell you where to find something like this, which is just a planting guide. You can see it says cultural recommendations. It's just a planting guide. So what I wanted to do is, because we've been getting, it's really been a lot. We've been getting a lot of comments on people asking, can I plant this? Can I still plant? I really want to get into gardening. And that's going to be, if you're in Louisiana, I'm going to show you, of course. I'm going to show you, this is telling us that we're in zone Louisiana. The whole of Louisiana has 4 zones. Zones 8A, 8B, 9A, 9B, 10A. That's 5, but I don't know. Anyway, but for the most part, what you're going to look at is it's going to be specific to your area. Why this is going to be a good video for you is because I'm going to explain most of this stuff. At least I'm going to try to explain when you pick up that planting guide at your local nursery. Some of this stuff I really don't understand. It doesn't really mean much. That's why I say I don't understand it. I don't know why they would even put it on there, but I'm sure everything means something and they can explain it to you in more detail. This is going to be a beginner's version for me because I'm going to show you what I use the guide for. A lot of this stuff I don't use it for. This is going to be very important. Days to harvest, and these dates. You see they got spring and fall. Some people only have a short growing season. Here we're allowed to grow, I'm going to say basically almost year round. So we do have a spring and a fall season. So let's get into it. It says generally with spring vegetables, the first planting should be made before or after the danger of frost is over, around March 15th for South Louisiana. That's where I'm at, a little further down south. April 1st for Central and North Louisiana. Now, one thing I do want you to know that the climate is seemingly to me, it differs year to year. I don't want to say the climate is changing, but it just differs year to year. Like this year, we planted in February. It was February 23rd. We put our first plants in the ground. This is almost a month later. So, and you can see this publication. It's a 1980s publication. They really should update this. Maybe somebody should call LSU. Maybe they need to update that. But generally, it's still going to put you in the ballpark for a good season. So it says the most recent plant hardening zone map released is this one. So that's what they're telling us. It also shows Louisiana comprised of 4 zones, but we talked about it. That's 5 zones. These zones represent the annual average minimum temperatures. So that means your zone gets to be your zone when they take all the temperatures and add them up and divide them by whatever and get that minimum temperature. That's going to be what zone you're in. So seeds, plants per 100-foot row. This is more so for if you have 100-foot rows, which most people probably don't. I don't have any 100-foot rows, but it's the amount of seeds or the number of plants that you can put in a 100-foot row. So that's going to give you some spacing. Depths to plant your seeds will depend, and I like the way they put it. It will depend on your seed size and soil type. What you can plant in a raised bed or how deep you plant a seed in a raised bed will differ greatly between how deep you plant a seed in clay soil, like in our ground soil. So in your containers and in the ground is going to be 2 different types of soil. And the soil depend on how loamy your soil is, how many additives, how much perlite, vermiculite. All that depends on your seed type. So if you on your seed or soil type, if you plant something one season and it don't come up, maybe you plant. I remember when I first started planting carrots, they would never germinate because I was planting them way too deep. Had to plant them like barely in the soil. I mean barely, like covering them up with a piece of soil now to get them to germinate. So remember, when you plant your seeds, if it don't work out one year, it's not all the time because you had bad seeds. Sometimes you planted them a little too deep and they're not strong enough to push up through that soil. So right here it says it. Heavy clay soils require a shallower depth of planting than do lighter sandy soils, which is true. This is because clay soils tend to form a crust. If irrigation water is not available and the soil is dry, your seeds may have to be planted a little deeper than normal. Generally speaking, most seeds should be planted 2 to 3 times as deep as they are wide. So bigger seed, you can afford to plant them a little bit deeper. Space between plants. This is something that I'm not going to really get into. You can actually take a screenshot of this and read it yourself. But it talks about plant spacing. My plant spacing, I like to put most of my things at least 2 feet apart. You can get way more food than I'm growing on a smaller scale than we have. Having 3 acres, I'm allowed to space mines a little bit more. But that 2-foot spacing isn't always, if you're going to have a smaller area, you'll be able to take care of it better. So one of the reasons I space mines a little bit more is because it gives me less work and less pest pressure to me. But if I had a smaller area or I was just gardening one area of the property, I would put those plants a little bit closer and get a little bit more in there because that'll be the only space that I'm working. I'll have more time to work that space. Let's see, days till harvest. The number of days from planting until harvest depends on variety selected. This is going to be on the backs of your packets. And most of this is talking about from seed. The seasonal temperature, seasonal rainfall. This has had a lot of people tripping out this year because our seasonal temperatures haven't been too seasonal. Some days it's been really, really cold in the summertime, and I'm saying cold because it's been real kind of chilly in the mornings. When usually by this time of the year, our mornings are and our evenings are just a little bit of break from our summer highs. I mean, sometimes our nights it's still 80 degrees here, so we've been getting real unseasonable temperatures. But rainfall is another one. Outside, I see that and understand that, which is why I put a lot of stuff outside. As far as with the high tunnel, you can't get any rain in the high tunnel on top of your plants. Everything has to come in from under the bottom. Cultural practices, whether the crop was direct seeded or transplanted. Of course, direct seeding is going to be that days to harvest, but if you got a transplant, you probably, I say, take that number and take 30 days off of it. The number of days indicated in these charts are average ranges to be expected. All right, so let's get into, and I wanted to get into this because we're getting ready to get started with our fall crops. So if you can see this, we do have planting dates for our fall crops in Louisiana. So probably if you're in Louisiana, Florida, Texas, maybe even up into Arkansas. I don't know how far up, but if you find this and Google a planting guide for your area, then you'll find out. And one thing I didn't want to pass up, I'm going to show you why I wanted to get this video out as soon as I can, is because right here, if you look down here at the bottom on my calendar, you see today is July the 5th. So I'm already a few days late on doing this video, and I wanted people to see that are thinking of starting their fall gardens, and you got some seeds, or you don't have the transplants, or the nurseries are kind of tripping about getting transplants out. They may do it, they may not. You don't have to worry about it, because right now you can get a jump on them. Direct seed or plants right now in my area, I can put down cantaloupes. That's going to give us, and because over here you got days to harvest, you only need 85 days. You have to get this date, this 85 days or whatever these days are. These have to correlate with coming before your first frost, unless you're going to cover. Okay, so sometimes you can tighten it up a little bit if you're going to cover those plants, but if the cover blows off in the middle of the night, those plants are going to die. So right here, I gotta have at least 85 days to get my seeds to give me some kind of cantaloupe. So if I plant it, so just say we planting July the 1st, so you'll have July to August will be 1 month, August to September another month, September to October another. That's 90 days already. So you'll be able to get a harvest sometime in October if you start planting cantaloupe seeds right now. That's what that's telling us. So let's look at some of the things right now. Let's start with just July. So we got cantaloupe seeds we can plant, and you can see our salt days. I mean, it's really been straight. You can plant cantaloupe seeds here in Louisiana from March to uh, June 30th to I don't know why they even, I guess they just want to show the difference, but you can see from March 15th all the way to what's the 8 month, August 15th, you could plant cantaloupe seeds every day. So and that's that's amazing. Let's look at, and I want to show you something too. This is South Louisiana. North Louisiana is a little bit different, and they show you here. So if you're looking at fall dates for North Louisiana, let's go down, and they got it from April 1st to July 31st is going to be your planting dates. And the reason that is because they're going to get a frost before we get a frost down here in South Louisiana. So they have to get their window got a little bit tighter between those days, and they're still probably getting little frosts in March when ours are dying out all the way till April. All right, so we got cantaloupe seeds we can plant. We got cauliflower. This is saying plants. Um, for seeds, I'm sure you still can put some seeds in, but for cauliflower seeds, I would say you want to wait a little bit longer, and we'll see if they gonna bring it up. But you want to wait a little bit longer because it's still a little bit hot here. I would say if you're gonna plant some seeds, you really want to get somewhere probably, I would say, on the tail end of this 10-15. So cauliflower I will be planting real late in the fall, not too early uh, in the fall. You got celery plants. You can put in 810 to 925. Collards, okay, so you can start direct sowing your collard seeds 7-15. Let's just stick with July right now since that's the month we're in. So we got collard greens we can start planting on the 15th. We got turnip greens we can start planting on the 15th. You see everything says direct seed. They're not going to give you all the information. This is real beginnerish. Some stuff you got to just try yourself. Let's see what else we got. Southern peas, we can direct sow those on the 15th. They like heat anyway. Potatoes, Irish potato pieces. We see that July the 1st, we could start putting in some Irish potatoes. This is real. I mean, when I first started, oh, I got another one that's way at the top. When I first started, I was just trying stuff because I was like, I'm the type that I want to do it myself. But as time has went on, I have started looking at some of these things and kind of using some of this as a basis or as a starting point, and then you kind of branch out into doing other things. So let's look at this here. Radishes, we can basically plant radishes every month of the year from January all the way to November. 22 days to 28 days harvest is why they're real quick. One of the quickest to harvest vegetables. Not many people eat them, but I've been looking into them for growing them near squash. They're supposed to help you with the vine borer, so I've been looking into growing them for that. And I like the rat's tail radish, which they don't. This one doesn't correlate with the rat's tail radish because it takes a little bit longer for those radishes to go to pods. Rutabagas, I don't grow these, but if you did, July 15th. Right here, you got summer squash, direct seed or plants, July the 1st to 9-15. So this is going to be giving you that fall crop. This is going to be giving you that crop that you're going to get right before it starts to freeze on you. And you can see that's a 50 to 90 days, depending on the variety that you get. Over here, tomato plants, we can grow tomato plants almost all year long. But outside in my high tunnel, I can grow them all year. But outside, the frost will kill them. So your last date to plant these is going to be like around August. That way, and it's going probably you're going to have to get some heat tolerant varieties to really do well, because it's so hot right now. But this is for plants, and I don't think it's for seeds. Why they don't have the one for seeds in? You can actually start. For the most part, you have to start your seeds somewhere around January, February ish. That way you can put your plants out for March 15th. On this side, I would say if you had somewhere to start your plants, same thing. You can start them indoors in May and June, and then you can kind of put them out. I would say put them out somewhere in the middle of this, especially I would say more toward the end of July. July is so hot, but if you got some shade cloth, July the 1st is good. Just throw your shade cloth over it. Tomatoes should do well with your shade cloth. Okay, so turnip seeds are same thing. 7-15, 10-31. Here, you can still actually plant watermelon seeds, and we're probably gonna plant us some more. I'm gonna take that watermelon mound down uh, not the whole side. I'm going to take the cantaloupe side off because all our cantaloupes are finally finished. So I'm going to take that paper off that side and get that grass out there. And I'm going to go for one more round of watermelon seeds, probably this week or next week. Try to get it in before this 7/15 date. And that's because it takes 90 to 110 days to actually go from seed to harvest on the watermelons. Okay, so let's go back to, like I say, if y'all want to read any of this other stuff, you can actually, uh, but they do talk about some of the seeds. You can just take a screenshot of this. It says tomatoes, peppers, eggplants must be seeded 6 to 10 weeks before planting. Longer times are for the spring crops. So 6 weeks, 10 weeks, they're saying is for the spring crops. That means you want 10 weeks before you put them out. Fall crops, probably somewhere in the 6 to 8 range before you put them out because it's already uh, hot outside and you don't have to worry about no sneaky frost uh, jumping up on you. But like I say, you can read the rest of that stuff. Good planning information here in this whole little area right here, if you're interested. But let's get down. August. August is a good way ways. You still can be planning things. Like I said, it's all going to be on your zone. But if you're in any one of these zones, um, from 8A to 10A, then this is still going to be good relevant information for you. Um, Even it doesn't matter what zone you're in, this is still good information for you. Looking at your beans, we can start planting beans again way in August, all the way to August 31st. And the only reason is because, of course, the frost will kill them. So this is based off of that frost date, 8/31. You're going to have about 67, 68 more days before our first frost. So it only takes about 66 days to start harvesting and stuff. And you're probably at about 70 or more days, really, before we start to get a frost. So it starts to being able to harvest about 60 to 66. But you know, most of these beans, they'll keep producing. They'll produce right up until the freeze hits you. So right now you're looking at August is gonna be, look at all these eights over here. August is gonna be prime real estate for putting down beans. You got beans, snap beans, pole beans, bush beans, whatever kind of beans you like. Lima beans, bush, pole, lima beans. Um, Oh, bush and poe is right there. Seeds. Beets. You can start putting the seeds in August. Broccoli plants. You can start putting them in August. So this, if they don't have seeds directly, that means they'll probably be better for you to start indoors and then put them out around this time. Brussels sprouts, same thing. 8:15 to 10:30, and the reason why they want you to hold off a little bit, probably right here, with putting like a broccoli plant out, is just so hot. June, July, and August. So maybe I would still say throw a little bit of shade cloth on them if you put them out 8/1, depending on the season, depending on how hot it is in August. Around the end of August, it starts to fade out. So I would really say with broccoli, I would really try to hold off here in South Louisiana, probably until sometime in September. Kind of cut this in half, go into the September, middle of September for your plants to really get a good start and not let the heat just beat them up and stun them down. Same thing for my cabbage plants, because these plants can take the cold. Cabbage can take the cold. Your broccoli can take the cold. Plant those a little bit later up into this season. Don't go out there too early. August 15th is probably still too hot. Cabbage, I know you can do cabbage from seeds, but I would say wait until maybe around October to start putting your cabbage seeds in. Chinese cabbage, same thing. Like the cold, don't like the heat. Carrot seeds, for those people that's looking to grow carrots, you're looking at a good time right here as well, August. So start getting like your seeds together for August. August is like a big time here in Louisiana. Celery plants, same thing. I planted some celery seeds based off of this, and it looked like almost a month before my seeds came up. So I still haven't got the perfect time to plant the celery seeds, but this is a good start for if you want to try to get into planting them. But we did get some to come up. We got about 6 or 7 plants, but I planted about, I can't tell you how many seeds, maybe almost a whole pack of seeds. Swiss chard 815. Collards, we already talked about them. Cucumber seeds. So for those people into cucumbers and watermelons, you can see August, you got to plant the watermelon seeds in July, but August, you can start planting your cucumber seeds again, which is really cool. And because of the days to harvest. So space between your plants, they say 12 to 18 inches, whatever you like. But depth, 1/4 inch. That's going to be a good little depth. That's not too far down. If you get a little ruler or a wooden ruler, you can look at that and see what 1/4 inch looks like. Sweet corn. Corn is out for the fall. We don't have a fall corn season. So if you see that on your paper, you'll see that we don't have a fall season. I don't know why they don't have a for the eggplants, they don't have a depth. So I don't really understand that. Garlic, we don't have a spring season for garlic. Our garlic has to be planted around this time because it needs that time in the ground over winter. You can see here 210 days it takes to get that garlic clove around to a garlic bulb. So you want to be planting out starting in, you can actually start these in September 9/1, start planting these all the way till November the 30th, and then you just count. Make sure you make a log when you planting what you're planting. That way, this will mean the world to you. This days to harvest. So if I put 9/1, okay, I planted my garlic 9/15. Then all you gotta do is pull up a calendar and just count 210 days. You should be able to pull that garlic out. And that'll give you a baseline. I say in 210 days, you pull 5 of them out and you check them. If you planting 20 or 30 of them, you can afford to pull 2 of them out at 210 days. And then what you do, if you don't like the size of them, or if they're rotten or something, then you can know, okay, well, I maybe need to pull mine out at 200 days. Or you will say, well, I'm probably going to pull mine out at 220 days to give them more time to get a little bit bigger or something like that. So you take this date and you adjust it based off, not just off your zone, adjust it based off your yard, because I tell you all the time, my yard and my neighbor's yard, it seems to me, has 2 different climates. And because I have trees all around my property and he doesn't have trees but on one side, and I mean the sun is so much better on his side, but I got a climate that I like because I can grow things and the sun doesn't kill mine. So I don't get full sun all day long. My sun is like from about 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock to like 4. And then everything, the sun's still out, but everything's getting that break from those direct sun rays uh because of my tree coverage. Kohlrabi is gonna be more August planting. Okra, you're gonna see this. Okra needs about 60 days. You still can direct seed okra for fall setting. If you're in South Louisiana, 8/1 to 9/31. If you're in North Louisiana, it's 7/1 to 8/15. And you're still gonna have that 60 days to get those okra seeds. Somebody had just asked me, can I still plant my okra? Can I still plant my okra? You can still plant okra all the way up
from from March all the way to September. I mean, I've seen people. I don't know why they got 531 because I've seen people still plant in June, like in the middle on okra. So maybe that's depending on if you're gonna take care of them and nurture them up a little bit or not. Or maybe right here they don't want you to direct seed because you can see that's gonna be the months they leave out is those what we call dog days of summer. They leave out June, July, and August. No, it still got August right here, but they leave out June and July, some of the hottest time of the summer, and maybe it's because those little small okra plants can't take the heat. But once they get big, it doesn't matter how high they get out there. Onion bulbs. You see, they got the plant sets. They want those in. We don't have a fall season for those. You have to have those in between December and January. And it takes 120 to 150 days. So that's going to be a spring harvest on your um, onion bulbs. Peanuts, we wanted to try these. So we might try them again next year. But we still probably can put some in the high tunnel because our high tunnel is a huge season extension, but you can see that's 110 to 120 days. More, I think that's pumpkin seeds. Let's see. For our Halloween harvest, plant 6:15 to 7:10. So you still got time to plant your pumpkin seeds to get that Halloween harvest. Otherwise, plant 3:15 to 9:15. All right, so it's just saying if you want a Halloween harvest, you plan on these fall dates. If you just want to grow some pumpkins, then you can just start planting them all the way in March, just like anything else. Just plan away. So this is what I wanted to show you all. Just a little help on can I go for a fall planting? Can I do a fall garden? And I kind of alluded to this before, is that a lot of people in Louisiana, especially as they age, that summer and spring garden is so hard on you. It's so hard on your body that a lot of people, especially people that just love tomatoes, they've just went on to just do fall gardens. I mean, fall gardens are just as beautiful here in Louisiana as our spring gardens. So a lot of people go for the the cabbage and the mustard green. So you'll start to see a lot of pictures popping up on social media and Facebook of people putting in these cabbages and Brussels sprouts and broccolis. Like it starts to green up here for our fall. As as I look at YouTube and other places, I see people way up north. They can grow their greens in their spring crop longer than we can. We can't grow greens that long into the spring because it just gets too hot for them. So here you'll start to see our salads and all those things kind of coming in for our fall as our heat kind of dims down. So that's just what I wanted to show you. I wanted to share that with y'all. Like I say, this is a real easy to find. You can type in LSU Ag Center, Louisiana Vegetable Planting Guide, and this will pop up and it'll give you, or you can go buy this planting guide, the whole little. I bought the what you call it, like the magazine type pamphlet deal for like $20. Didn't really need it. It didn't really tell me much. It does get into some pests about what kind of pests you have. So any little publication you can get, if you can afford it, is good to get some reading. But this was one that I wanted to show you all for a lot of people that were getting into beginner gardening. Like I say, you can take this same guide and get ready for next year. If you're not doing a fall garden, you use this guide to get ready for next year to know, okay, next year in February, I can start putting these beans in. I can start putting these in. And that way, you can kind of plan your garden accordingly to these start dates. And I guarantee you, if you do that next year, God spare your life, you'll have a better look on how you want your garden to be, and your garden will be totally better. So thank y'all for watching the Grow Family Network, and I hope y'all enjoyed this one. This was a good one. So as always, grow, grow, grow. Peace.